What is up, everybody? Deeper Depths with the Deeper Level podcast, and we are live tonight. Listen, I am super excited to be back with you again. I'm telling you, my special guest, this is going to be fire tonight, y'all. I cannot wait just to dive in and to chat with her. It's an extreme honor and an extreme privilege to have her on tonight. So listen, come on in. I see some of you are already in the comments. Make sure that you like and share this. We are on Twitter, we are on Twitch, as well as we are on YouTube tonight. So I was chatting with some of you all probably about an hour ago, and we were just kind of talking about 2023 in gaming and how huge it is and how huge 2024 is going to be in gaming. It's going to be even bigger. We've got so many exciting titles that are going to be coming out. And don't forget that this week is the Game Awards. So a lot is going to get revealed. A lot is going to get announced. And so it's no telling what we might see tonight. But listen, I know many of you, after you saw the flyer, you want to be here tonight because you want to hang out with our special guest. And I'm just as excited as you all. I promise you, is an extreme honor, an extreme privilege to have her time tonight. This lady is busy. She's got so much going on, but she took the time to come and hang out with us today exclusively on the Deeper Level podcast. So I'm super excited today. My guest has one of the most decorated careers in film, television, gaming, and comedy. A woman of many multiple talents, having worked with the industry's leading brands of today with Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, absolutely dominating the AAA game industry as of late with a list of credits that's impressive on any spectrum. Currently voicing Amanda Waller in the upcoming Rocksteady Studios Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, releasing February of 2024. Can you please help me welcome my very special guest, the indomitable Debra Wilson. Hey, lady, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Deeper Depths. What a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you, Brother Love. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. We're super excited to have your time. And I know that you've probably got a million things going on. So it's super special just to have someone like you grace us with your presence. I'm excited for these questions tonight. And you are just the coolest person in the world. So just want to send love all the way from Texas out there on the Pacific where you are. I'm telling you, keep rocking out and keep doing your thing because you
Blessing.
have been an inspiration to many of us tonight that are on this live. I'm curious to know, a person like you who inspires so many of us, who inspires you? I'm always curious as to who inspires the people that inspire us. So who are some of your inspirations in life?
All of my inspirations aren't not necessarily people. Some
Okay,
of my
okay.
inspirations are sentient beings. I'm inspired by life. I'm inspired by nature. I am inspired by relationships. I'm
Mm,
inspired by honesty,
mm,
integrity, authenticity, truth. I'm inspired by kindness. I'm inspired by compassion. I'm inspired by a creative work effort, effort. More than anything else, I think the people that inspire me, it has nothing to do with what they do for a living, whether it's voiceover or anything else. I'm inspired by their kindness. I'm
wow.
inspired by how open and accessible they are. I'm inspired by their creative integrity. Um, and I'm inspired by their silliness and the fun that they bring to the table when they do work. I'm inspired by people who work hard every day. I'm inspired by everything that God has put on the planet. I am inspired by joy. I am inspired by my family. I'm inspired by my friends. I'm inspired by anyone that is willing to be kind when I'm not even involved. I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by all of those things because all of those tell the story of humanity on one level or another. All of those tell the story of life itself and sentient beings. And that's what I take into the studio. That's what I take into the stuff that I do. That's what I take into the love that I do. So I'm inspired. I'm inspired by the sunset.
Come on. Come on.
I'm inspired that I get a chance to wake up every day and be grateful to God that I do what I do. I'm not only am I inspired, but I'm humbled. And so I get my inspiration from so many places and all places and every place. That's what I'm inspired by.
Come on. Hey, you know what? Where's the collection plate? Because you just preached.
Yes, I did. Amen. Hallelujah,
Yes.
everybody.
Come on, come on. This is beautiful because I just love how soulful and genuine of a person that you are, how down to earth, even when reaching out for the interview, I like the fact that you said, hey, just keep it basic, just give me the facts, give me what's up. That you don't have to have an entourage to answer this email, to answer this message. I just think that is the most incredible thing. I was watching another interview that you did one time, and you were talking about how you don't really just focus on celebrating birthdays, you celebrate every day.
I don't celebrate the holidays. I celebrate the everydays.
Oh,
I celebrate the everydays. So every day is happy thanks living.
yeah, yeah. Now, I've noticed that not only have you become a voice of gaming, but you've also become a face of gaming as well. More and more AAA studios are putting you in the game, not just your voice, but they're putting you in the game.
My
And
avatar. Yeah.
yes, your avatar. Now what's going on with that? Like, did you ever imagine? I mean, your negotiating game has to be on 10. I mean, what's going on? How I mean, you are in Star Wars. Your avatar is in Suicide Squad. How are you pulling this off?
I'm not pulling anything off. The game companies are saying, this is what we want. This is how we want to create this. And
Wow.
whatever their inspiration is and whatever their reason is, they felt as if this was the way to go as far as the look was concerned. So I don't have a say in that image. It's just a matter of saying, it's just a matter of the game companies going, you know what, this works for us. Everything is based on a vibration. So if they go, this works for us, great. And I've just gone like, okay, this is great, this is wonderful, and let's bring it on home. So I really don't have a say, and I really don't have an input. I would rather not have an input. I would rather just allow myself to be in the space, and I will move based on your flow. This is your
Wow.
game. This is something you created way before I came along. And so as you are continuing to evolve that space, and I come in after you've evolved that space, when you've written it and you've taken 5 years of development, this is your baby. So when you bring me in, I'm not a babysitter. I'm the au pair. I'm going to treat it as well as you treat it and make sure that I've given it every essence of what I'm meant to do and would love to do in telling your story. And in the process, you come along and say, here's what we're feeling and thinking now as we're transmuting it in the now, as opposed to what we just created 5 years ago. And so we're feeling this. And I go, okay, the answer is yes. And bottom line, if that's what you want to do, yes. And never know. Yes. And so I've been very honored and privileged that I think the very first game that started out using my avatar was it was before Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and it was definitely before Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It was
Okay.
Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Wolfenstein:
Wolfen's
The New Colossus. And then after that, after Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, then it was General Lyons in Call of Duty: Modern Warfare.
wow.
And it was just a trend that people said, this is the image we want. Your voice fits your own image. Your
Wow.
voice fits your own image. And so it was a creative decision, not on my part, but on the game companies. And thank you, game companies. Thank you.
I know, right? This is incredible. And
No, 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 no. It's very credible.
very credible. Very credible. I I got it. Trust me, I
I'm
got it.
grateful. I'm humble. It's very credible.
Wow. I want to say thank you to for another game that you were involved in. And I promise you, if you were to pull my PlayStation Play Hour report, I've got more play hours on this game than any other game that I've ever played. I pulled the statistics and I was like, what game did I play the most? Even though I already knew, I just wanted to see the number. I want to thank you for your role as Okoye on Crystal Dynamics Marvel's Avengers. there is an entire community that appreciates the level of work, what you embodied. And I just want to say thank you. I saw press one time with you, Christopher Judge, Evan Narcisse, and I believe some of the developers team from Crystal Dynamics. The Wakanda expansion was everything. Y'all nailed it. That is a well done game. I just want to say thank you, Deborah, for that game. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just me. The dialect coach was absolutely amazing, who was the same dialect coach, believe it or not, the exact same dialect coach on all of the movies.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was nice to be able to hone me in and hear and allow me to find that emotional performance and the truth in that, and then keep me honest with the accent. So it was really wonderful.
Wow. That is amazing. Now, uh let's talk about Sir Junda, the iconic fight against Darth. See, I'm telling you,
Now,
there is so
let's hope everyone is played by now. We're not giving away anything. Okay.
right.
It's
Hopefully,
been out for a
hopefully.
while. So if you haven't, turn it off
Absolutely.
or tune in.
Come on, come on. Sir Junda, the iconic fight against Darth Vader. First of all, how huge is it to have battled the legendary Darth Vader, which, in my opinion, is arguably the greatest bad guy in history? Like, I'm a person that cheers for the villains. I've always liked the villains in life, and Darth Vader is, I mean, he is iconic. You know, from Fallen Order to Jedi Survivor,
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, he is that guy. And you gave him the business. Can I just say that? You gave him the business on that fight. And funny enough, they did it in such a way with Jedi Survivor that they had us focused on another area of the story that I didn't even think Vader was going to show up again in this one. But when he came in and the fight that you all had, which was a fight to the death, how did that feel? I mean, like, do you ever just wake up saying like, I fought Darth Vader? I mean, this is a big deal.
It is a big deal. But I didn't. That wasn't a thought for me in terms of the outside, because I had already been involved on the inside of it, and I'd been involved in so many things that were um, Star Wars related
Sure.
for a long period of time, that were sort of like force led to
Uh,
from moment to moment to moment. So my first introduction into all of this, when it came to the Star Wars universe in and of itself, was years ago, with things that I did, was using the force to will Mark Hamill into an experience, a work experience with me, years before he even knew that that would happen. So, I
wow.
mean, all of that was steamrolled into that experience. And for me, it wasn't stepping out of it, it was stepping further into it um, to fulfill a destiny. So that's how I saw it. It never was like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. It was a matter of this is part of the course of the destiny in this experience. And so for me, there was a groundedness in that destiny, because after sitting down and having a table read with everyone, and people were all over the world at the time, and everyone from all over the world, including Los Angeles, California, were at a table read at a mocap stage, reading the script. And I never read it ahead of time, because reading it with a group of people was going to be a phenomenal experience in and of itself. And the discovery in those moments, the real visceral, emotional moments. And so when I found out that I was going to fight Vader, first of all, it was, oh, they made me a playable character. Wow. And secondly, when I died, I was so grateful. I was so excited to find out about my death and read it in that moment, because I thought, she's done all that she needs to do, because my mind was already trained on being a Jedi. And in the process, I knew that as a Jedi, I had come to the end of this journey, because it was time for me to pass the baton. And so this crucifixion was necessary for a greater purpose. She had served her purpose. I didn't see if there was going to be another game, and there probably will be, how I would fit in, because it wasn't a matter of continuing, it was a matter of passing.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I recognize that philosophically, but I also recognize that as far as the storyline was concerned. And so for me, it was fulfilling a prophecy that needed to be fulfilled. And it was just a moment of gratitude. It was still bittersweet, but it was definitely gratitude.
Wow. Amazing. And just to hear you speak to it from that level, to have that type of insight in how you handle the story and how you view the story. And even as you said, giving the moment everything that it needs, but knowing that it's time to pass the baton. I mean, it just, it couldn't have been a more beautiful death, if that makes sense. It
Yes,
couldn't have
it
been
was a,
that
it was
that
a beautiful death.
that story was well written. I seriously enjoyed both games, and looking forward to whatever that company continues to do, because that is just an incredible IP. The
It
range of
really is.
characters
It was,
that
it was, oof. It was the relationship between Seer Junda and Cal Kestis
yes,
was the same relationship between Cameron Monaghan and Debra Wilson. It was
wow,
that close.
wow,
I think it was for me, uh, the most phenomenal working relationship, love relationship,
wow,
creative relationship that I've ever had, uh, playing any character in any video game. It was the
wow,
most powerful. And I've had powerful
wow,
relationships before, but this relationship was overwhelmingly powerful, overwhelmingly powerful. Every day with Cameron, every day with Cameron was this powerful relationship, and this gratitude and this gift every day. We had never met each other before. We had never
wow,
worked with each other before. And that relationship really came together, and it was finely tuned because of our respect, mutual love for each other. And it was powerful. It was really powerful and very honest and very deep. What you see in my death and Cal holding me is what it really was for the both of us in
wow,
that moment. It was a surrender, and it was a suffering and a sorrow. It was powerful,
powerful,
powerful.
powerful. And it's
Oh,
and it's so necessary what you're saying, because it translated to everything you're saying in the game. Like, we could feel it. I mean, it was a moment of tears for me, just truthfully speaking. The story was so captivating, and it can only have that type of effect if that type of energy was put into it by yourself, you know, and him, and
yes.
so it was just well done. And it was, like you said, it was time. I mean, it was just a beautifully written, well played moment. And I'm telling you, it was iconic. it's
Oh,
it's one of the things about um gaming that for me is top five in how it was done, and the death. So I'm telling you, that was incredible. And hearing you speak to it now, I have the definition as to why it translated so well on the screen in gaming, because now I get the relationship that was behind the scenes and behind the character. So
it was a real relationship between me and Cameron. And it just so happens that that was a day we were in the volume that it was the last day of shooting the entire game,
wow,
and it was just he and I, the director and the game team and the developers and the reps from Lucasfilm. So it was that's it. So, but
wow,
stage wise, performance wise, there were no other PCAP people there. It was just me and Cameron.
wow,
So
wow,
to actually have that intimacy in shooting,
sure,
and I think we only shot that scene maybe 3 times, and that was the one of the last scenes to be shot. And it was just he broke down all 3 times, and all I could feel was his tears on my face
mm,
as he held me all 3 times. First of all, he's phenomenal at what he does. He's amazing, and I
sure,
was inspired by him every single day that I was in the volume. I was like, this young man is a force to be reckoned with. And he's a beautiful soul on top of that. And so that was bittersweet for both of us. And when it was done, there was this silence in the room that you could cut with a knife. And we just got to, stood there and talked about what, and said to each other what we meant to each other, And when I saw him at an event that was oriented towards the end and the celebration of it, it was a big party. And I didn't know he was going to be there because he was in London working at the time. And it was a force pull because I was about to leave. I hadn't seen him, so I was about to leave. Something pulled me to my right. I was
Wow.
about to walk out. The exit is there, and something stopped me for a moment. And I turned to look, and there he was.
Oh, I got chills. Wow.
There he was. And of course, I cried in his arms because it was really wonderful to see him and reconnect that way. And I asked him, I said, you know what? We never talked about this, and you never mentioned it, but I want to know something. What I said, because your process is so personal, and I would never really ask what your intimate process is. But for that one scene, what were you thinking? Because everything was so raw.
Yeah.
And so real and so emotional. What were you thinking? And he said, our time together coming to an end. What I've learned from you, our time, and now it's over. And so you are gone, and this is done. And so he said, that's what I was going on in my mind. And it's just, yeah, I adore Cameron Monaghan. He's brilliantly talented, authentic, kind, accessible, knows what he's doing. It's just, he's a phenomenal talent. And it was a life-changing experience working with him.
Oh my goodness. Chat, are y'all catching this? The value in what she's giving us right now. I'm telling you, I got chills just hearing you explain that, because this
Yeah.
is so much bigger than gaming. A lot of people don't realize this is so much bigger than, the game itself. I mean, this is life, this is relationships. And this is why I really celebrate and salute the craft that you have as an actor and a voice actor, just that gift to captivate us in such a way. Seeing how in demand that you are, the range of characters that you've played are so diverse. We go from an extreme hero energy in Star Wars to an agenda driven Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad. Just your range of these different characters, which a lot of people don't realize that you have embodied Amanda Waller before this game in the
Twice.
Batman twice. Okay. Now I knew about the
Before.
Batman Telltale series. But then even before that or after that?
After that, on
After that.
HBO, on Max, formerly HBO Max, there is My Adventures with Superman, which is out right now. I play Amanda Waller in that as well. And I play them all differently.
Exactly. And that's something that's hard to do. That's the most brilliant part of this, because I go back and I look
I
at.
don't know if I would say hard. I wouldn't call it hard. What it is perspective.
Okay.
And so one perspective is as a manipulator. Another perspective is a chess game. Another perspective is I'm your jailer and your parole officer. So when you have these different approaches, you find these subtle nuances that make each different, because you know that the subset and you know that the base is I'm manipulative, and all the things and all the nuances and all the essences that come that way. I'm playing a chess game, which has its own sense of quiet, backhanded diplomacy. And I'm your jailer, which is full out, I don't give a flying F, And so it's being able to find those nuances so that you stay on key and not let all of them blend. Because each voice print will tell its story based on knowing your foundation. And so each foundation has that space that it holds, and it stays on this track and this track and this track. And the three never really meet that much. You'll always know that it's me, but there's always these subtle things that in one that you won't find in the other, and then other subtle things that you'll find in the other but not find in this one. So I wanted to make sure that they were played differently, that because the foundations were different. I wanted to each have a very strong and solid foundation and a mantra and a belief in something. So I am your jailer, straight out. And that allowed me to find a voice that was a little bit more staccato. And I am playing a chess game, which allowed me to be more diplomatic. My move here, your move there. And manipulative, which is a little bit more oily, so that it's, in a space that you can tell that she is a little something. Like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's with her. I don't know what's with that Amanda Waller, but there's something about her. So that kind of a voice that lets you know that there is something going on, and playing it right in there. So it's almost as if I'm staring at you and I'm calculating everything, and I calculate everything with everyone. So there's a different kind of a lilt to it, because we're all made of vibrations. Everything is made of vibrations. And so it's finding that pattern of liltingness that gives her that energy and that space to hold. Whereas the other is a little bit softer, and then there's a little bit more pause in it. Whereas the other has the staccato, because she doesn't give a damn. And so it's finding those spaces. So they're all a little different, because everyone who hires me deserves that.
Wow. I cannot wait. I'm telling you, I'm so ready for February to get here. It's ridiculous, because this is just totally my type of game, the type of game that I like to play. And so I just cannot wait to experience you in this side of Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I mean, and it's again, an iconic voice acting crew. I mean, I just like the way that things were cast, but there could not have been a better casting for Amanda Waller than you. I mean, you nailed it in everything that you've done, and I know that this right here is about to blow our minds. Has there ever been a time, seeing how demand you are in with all of these different projects, that things have overlapped? Like have you ever been doing one character at one time and then have to jump into another character for another
Oh, sure.
project?
Yeah, I don't think that's uncommon for a lot of voice actors. I don't think that's uncommon. But every story is different, and you're giving credence to every story, because every story is a journey. It's like going down this rabbit hole, then coming back up and going down that rabbit hole. It's like all of a sudden you're driving and you're in New York, and then you keep driving, and now you're in Pennsylvania, and you keep driving, and you're in Virginia, and then you're in North Carolina, and then you're in South Carolina. So each place that you go, it's the same road, but you're continuing as they come together to have an experience in each place, where the land is different, the people are different, the food is different. The culture of the United States is different. And so it's a matter of going, all right, I'm in this space. How do I adjust, and what is necessary for telling this story? Because no matter what, the voice is always last for me, and the story is always first. And so when I
Ooh,
focus on the story, everything else will fall into place. But the story is important because it came way before I did.
wow. Wow. Now, so you have done the three, in my opinion, the three biggest brands in working with Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. Um, on
And Disney.
right, and Disney,
Yeah.
exactly. What if season one, all right, being an MCU project under the umbrella of Kevin Feige, I've always heard how top secret things are and how serious they take these projects. Do the communications from Marvel, and this is kind of a joke, but then at the same time, it's kind of not, because it seems this way. Do the communications from Marvel self destruct like in Mission Impossible? After they tell you something, it just like disappears. I mean, the lore that's built around the secrets of the MCU are just intriguing. What was it like to work on the What If project?
You know what? I had been working with various loop groups and various ADR looping companies for a while. And Terry Douglas, thank you, Terry Douglas, for bringing me onto the project, and trusting me. And so getting the opportunity to work on a project like that was, again, oh my goodness, I'm getting a chance to get back into that accent, because I've also done that for a Disney project. And so finding that home and that space was, there's an ease coming into it as opposed to, okay, because we all know that there's information, and every game has a name that is unrecognizable, obviously. And some of them have two or three different names that throw you off, so that by the time you finish the project and someone says, hey, did you work on that? And I'm like, I have no idea. I didn't know what the name was. So the what makes it so secretive is the naming. And at the same time, everybody has representation. So your representation gives you only what you need to know. It's a need to know basis.
Got
And
it.
so you find out what it is, but you've been doing it long enough to be respectful, because now the work comes first and not the titillation of it. The work comes first, especially if you're digging into, and I can do an African accent, but the specific accent, the Wakandan accent, was very, very meticulously specific. And I love digging into accents. I go deep when I dig into an accent. So to have the actual linguist, the actual person who was the linguist on all the games, for the accent, it was just a phenomenal to be able to know that you worked on that, and here you are working on this. And so I owe you the respect as well. So I'm so busy digging into that I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm doing at that point, my focus is to do this character justice, because she's been played before brilliantly. And so it's about playing that character honestly and bringing justice to it without being a mimic.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. Now, is there still that, out of all that you've done, working with all of these major companies, is there still that dream project out there, something that you haven't done? Because you're everywhere. I promise you. I look up and I see the name Debra Wilson, and I'm like, go, go, go. Because I mean, you are doing it. Is there still that dream project out there that you haven't done yet that you want to do?
I don't look towards anything that I don't know.
Okay.
I only stay in what I do, because the work has been really, really a blessing from God. The opportunity has been a blessing from God. The moving through all of this and pouring my soul into it is a blessing from God. So what more could I possibly want but to stay in the moment and receive the blessing?
Wow.
And so every single thing that I've done, people have a tendency to go like, "What's your favorite this?" or "What's your favorite that?" And they tend to be a little surprised at times when I say I don't have any favorites. And my answer to that is because every one of them have their own experience. Every one of them were different in certain ways. Every one of them were the same in certain ways. And so it's what you bring. It's the experience that you bring to it, and it's the experience you get out of it that has its own intimacy and beauty and power to it. So they all are that. They all have their own intimacy, power, and beauty to them. A God of War Ragnarok, playing Gryla in that. It was a one-day shoot, and it was emotionally and psychologically intense. At the end of it, when it cut and it was a wrap for me, I was on the floor screaming and crying because of all the energy I had to hold to play her, all the energy I chose to hold to play her. This space, this frustration, this love and this hate, this need and desire, this fear and this longing. It was holding all of that in from the very beginning when I walked in that volume, before I even said a word to anybody. So I had been holding that energy, and it finally got to the point in which I could no longer hold it. And it was great because I held it long enough to shoot everything and then let it all go. But I had to release it. So I was screaming my head off and crying on the ground. Christopher Judge was not there that day, but he was watching. I had no idea that he was watching live.
Wow.
So it was really wonderful, but it was heavy duty for me. But I needed it to go to that space. I needed to go to that space for that moment, because I had never worked with any of the young actors before, and they did not know me. And so I refused to be introduced to them. I refused to talk to them. I refused to look to them until it was that time. So the young lady who played Angerboda, we didn't actually meet until I was finished, until we cut. I was wrapped. We didn't officially meet. but she was my granddaughter, and I had to have a relationship with her that was deep and longing and powerful and resentful and angry. It was filled with every emotion that you can possibly bear the weight of in your soul. And so all I would do is, before we started, at first she was like a little unnerved, because right before we would roll, I would never look at her. We never rehearsed together, like blocked together. So what would end up happening is I would right before they were about to go into the volume and shoot, I would stop and I would go over to her and I would just look at her. And at first she was like, in her mind, I can tell it was like, what's going on? Second time, look at her. She's like, oh, you're giving me your pain. You're showing me that you're my grandmother and you're giving me this pain. Third time, I started seeing her relate in a way that said, you're my grandmother and I love you. You're in such pain. The fourth time, because I came back and she had already gotten it, she started making me cry when I looked at her, because she was completely there. Now she was meeting me head on as my granddaughter. And it was overwhelming to look into her eyes at that point for me. And so each take was ramping up, especially when one of the last lines are, I don't know if I can use swear words here, but the exact line is, I should have killed you the moment I pulled you out of your fucking mother. I should have killed you the moment I pulled you out of your fucking mother. And that's so loaded. And that helped to drive everything up. It helped to drive everything in my soul upward. It's almost like when you can't help it, when you vomit, it's because there's reverse peristalsis and you can't control it. And that line was that for me, but I had to keep it down. It's almost like, oh, it's coming, but not done yet. Not done yet. Because it had to be quieted down slightly. And then it got quiet. And then I was left with my grief, to hear my own grief, to hear my own pain, to hear and feel my own suffering on my knees. And that's why when it was cut, we got it, I was able to spill it out. It was really because I only had one day. All of Ryla was shot in one day. Of course, you go back, you go back in terms of not the performance capture, but you go back in terms of voiceover stuff. Okay. In game mode, we're going to do this, and blah, 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 we're going to do this. Okay. We need you, blah, blah. Okay. These efforts, we need this. So that's what it was, more than anything else, all the rest of it in the gaming process of it. But performance capture, I had one day and one day only. Wow. And it was, you know what? Show up and show out. Go big or go home. It was all of that and more. And I'm that type of person.
Come on. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. I mean, there's such a wealth of information that, you are giving us tonight to put definition just to what it is you do, your craft, your work, and why you are so masterful at doing it. And those are the type of things that come with time. And that's another thing that I tell individuals. I tell people this: it takes about 20 years to become an overnight success. I want to talk about the grind, because people see you doing this, they see you doing that, but they don't realize the level of work and commitment that it took at perfecting your craft to get to where you are. I mean,
I'll never perfect it. It's never been perfected. It will never be perfected. I just work it, and I come from the most authentic place. I work it. I coach too. So I tell people, you want to be a better actor, be a better human being.
Oh.
And so this is just a matter of, your craft can be worked. Anybody can work a craft, but who are you when you work it?
Who are you?
Who are you when you work it?
Oh, this is good. I'm telling you, this is good. We are eating so good tonight. Listen, a couple of more questions, because I want to respect your time tonight. And again, I thank you so much for lending this time to us tonight, because this has been
any day, all the time and every time. Yes,
this has been incredible. I'm gonna ask you like this. I've been having a conversation with my buddy N3000. I believe he's on tonight, and I just want to ask you to see what your perspective is. Michael Jackson or Prince?
Both.
Both. Okay.
And you
Okay.
know why? As human beings, both had their demons like we all do.
Sure.
See, the reason I say both is my first my first foundation is my connection, because I'm connected to all sentient beings. God says we're all one. And so for me, I know that so it's immediate and instantaneous, that connection to the realities, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to the judging, because it's easy
Right.
to judge the
Yeah.
realities. Why? Because no one wants to hold up a mirror to their own pain. And so for me, it's connecting to that and then pushing through that and past that to see the genius that made each one of them stand out in a phenomenal way, that the world also backs me up on saying they were geniuses.
Yes. Yes.
Musical geniuses, an X factor beyond this planet. They were touched. And people like
Absolutely.
that there's a frailty to them. There's a sensitivity to them, because they still have no choice but with that higher energy and that higher expression of creativity to fall into the traps of the three-dimensional world.
Wow. Come on. Your mind, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just it's a beautiful mind to even be able to speak to the things that you've spoken to tonight. And I have been strengthened and enlightened even just in our conversation tonight. Um, what was it like, narrowing it down now, to work with Rocksteady Studios, because they indeed are one of the goats of gaming development teams, bringing us the Arkham series, doing Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. What was that experience like, to work with their studio?
One word: powerful. Powerful, 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 powerful. Because when they gave me the opportunity to play Amanda Waller, they in the same time gave me the opportunity to be Amanda Waller. They didn't ask me to be Viola Davis.
Come on.
They didn't
Come on.
tell me what I had to do. They trusted me enough that I really wanted to bring something to the table that was going to uplift the Suicide Squad, and DC and Warner Brothers. They gave me the opportunity. So instead of seeing that as a weight on my shoulders, I saw it as a playground to move through anytime I wanted to and stay after dark when all the other kids had to go home.
Come on.
Powerful. They trusted me enough, and they trust me to be Amanda Waller. Not just voice Amanda Waller, but be Amanda Waller. And it's just been wonderful that her vernacular is so there that they're like, all right, you want to change that a little bit? You want to move that? Yeah, because Amanda moves a certain way, in her world, in her physical world, because it's still in my third eye and I'm there, and in her world, how she speaks based on who she's looking to at the time. And they allowed me to bring all the nuances, all the essences to it. They allowed me to bring the hot sauce and say, okay, I'm putting hot sauce on this one. Y'all don't need hot sauce with that. You're gonna let me, now we're all eating the same food, but you're gonna let me have hot sauce on this? Thank you. And so they have been gracious and trusting, and they opened the door to the playground that they built and said, go, is yours, playground. And so I cannot thank Rocksteady enough for trusting me, from my audition process to the booking process to the work process, by being so powerfully trusting as well. Thank you. Powerfully trusting as well. Big up to Rocksteady, big up to Warner Brothers, big up to everyone who's worked on this game so hard, because it's a lot of weight on the shoulders, because it's a lot of responsibility, because everybody else has done their job. So I better show up or show out.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Chat, you heard it right there from Amanda Waller herself,
Yes, you
aka
did.
Debra Wilson. We are super excited. February cannot come quick enough. I'm super excited to dive into this game. Thank you so much, Debra, for your time tonight. I appreciate you. This has made my entire year. I'm telling you,
Deeper
it,
depths. Thank you.
this has made my entire year. Myself and my wife, next week, we're excited because we're flying out to LA to attend our very first video game award. So we are super excited about going to that on this week. And listen, I thank you so much. I just want to ask one thing of you before we go. As we near closer towards the game, on my channel, I always do a giveaway of a AAA title game. So, would you be willing, maybe to take 2-3 minutes sometime in the future as the game gets closer and just help me give away a copy to some excited fan?
5 words. Try to keep me away.
I got you.
Try to keep me away. Try to keep me away. I'll be there if you'll be there.
Hey, I'll be there.
What choice do you have? I put a nanite bomb in your head. You don't even know.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on, Amanda Waller. Hey, did y'all get it, chat? Here it is.
Tick, tick, boom.
Oh, my goodness. You heard it there first, chat, right here on the Deeper Level podcast with my special guest, Debra Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Debra. Well wishes to all of your endeavors and everything that you're working on. We're
Thank
super
you. And
excited
you
to
as
experience the
well.
game, and we cannot wait to chat again in the near future when the
We
game
will.
releases.
We will. We will for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. That's our show tonight, everybody. Make sure that you like and share this. Subscribe to the Deeper Level podcast. We are on YouTube as well as Twitter as Deeper Depths. And we'll see you again on the next Deeper Level podcast. Peace.